Hi, everybody. This is OMONDI Juma, and welcome to the world of Ralph. Yes!
I love it.
Welcome to the show, everyone, man. I don't know if you guys watched the game because it wasn't televised on Sky. Maybe you found a way to watch it. I did. I know we all did in here. Just going to have a big shout out to my man, the best commentator on the Man United Agenda and on all podcasts. It's TalkMU and his assistant, Mr. B. TalkMU, how are you?
Oh yeah, thanks, Amanda. That's my head's swelling up now, bro. Listen, I'm over the moon, mate. I'm absolutely over the moon for reasons that you are going to make clear to us very shortly. But I'm just over the moon.
Down below you, all the way from Ireland. How you doing, Rebel?
Yeah. What can we say? Business done. 3 points. Keeping that pressure on the Champions League spots. Onwards and upwards.
And finally, with a little surprise for us, I'm going to introduce you. The side man of TalkMU on the commentary is Mr. B.
Evening. I just got something I got a little dedication to somebody. Yeah, so just listen.
All right, you can listen to that on your own because no one else can hear you.
Yeah, Mr. B, come on.
Oh. Okay, Fred. Okay, Fred. Now I'm a yaga. Okay, Fred.
That's my dedication to Fred. Before I go any further, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna put it out early. That was Fred's best performance for Manchester United I have ever seen. Wow. Now we can go on with the show. I'll keep my mouth shut and I'll wait my turn.
Okay, guys, welcome everyone in the comments as well. I'm seeing some of you guys were also in the comments on the commentary as well. So you obviously watched the game and you're up to date with everything that went down. As we know, the last fortnight has been amazing at Manchester United. We've had a big change of manager. We've had a change of fortune as well with our results, really good results, even the one against Chelsea. And finally today, Ralph has had a couple of days to put his drills into place. And we've witnessed today a professional performance by Ralph. And the players seem to be on board with it against Palace, who are, like I said earlier, they're no mugs. And so I'm just going to read out the lineup, and then we're going to talk about the lineup quickly. Just go around the room. So we had De Gea in goal. Right back was Dalot. Harry Maguire, Lindelof, and Tellez at left back. Fred McTominay, I'm not going to say where, but Fred McTominay, Sancho, Bruno, Rashford, and Ronaldo. Okay, TalkMU, talk to me, because I'm reading out I'm not going to say Fred McTominay in this position. I want you guys to tell me about the shape, the system, and what we saw out there today. So start us off and let's pass it round, please.
Look, yeah, much improved, much better shape. Much better maintaining of shape in and out of the on and off the ball, in and out of attack. We see, was it the 4-2-2-2? And like you were saying there at half time when you came on about Fred and McTominay holding, they're holding their shape, they're holding their positions. But we did see them at times getting when the right time arisen for them to get forward, which was great because it aided our attack and it made things so much more difficult for Palace to try and get anywhere. Try and get anywhere out in any kind of fashion of, what can they counter? No, they couldn't because we were just had so much control over the game. And that's what we've been talking about, isn't it? And also not just that, the fullbacks, Tellez and Dalot.
We're going to come on to the fullback. Yeah.
But, listen, the midfield aspect of the game, I thought it was great. Yeah, there's always going to be a couple of little things where you're like, that could have been better. That little bit could have been better. But overall, a massive improvement. Just as a massive... Lucky fraud, says Charlie. He's a Man City fan, folks. Let's not take that from the Man City fan.
Shaking in his boots. All right, coming on. Yeah.
No, that's it. That's all I'll say.
Okay, with the personnel, with the lineup, Rebel, what do you think about the players, the personnel? Because it seems like our own Solo got it right with the players, the personnel, and starting lineup.
Well, wherever Solo got his research material for this game, he absolutely hit it bang on the nose with his lineup. You'd almost forgive his absolute gargantuan Wally moment last night for what he actually done with the team selection. And then for anyone that did miss it, what's Donny van der Beek's initials? And what is Aaron Wan-Bissaka's initials? Just wondering.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka's initials are VDB, aren't they? That's what I'm led to believe.
For those who don't know, Solo's still in hiding. He'd probably resurface next week once he thinks it's all died down. But it won't, because next Friday night, I'm looking forward to it. It will be coming up again. So, Mr. B, we read out the lineup, the thing. But as TALKMU said, it was a 4-2-2-2. So you can just highlight where people were playing.
Well, Fred and McTominay played the deep lying, but I'll be honest, there seemed to be a lot of rotation between the what we would call maybe the holding two. I'm trying to get it in. So maybe the holding two and the two just ahead, because there was times, if you look in the game, where Sancho was actually deeper than Fred and McTominay. I don't know if that was an instruction in regards to keeping the two that we had, because really they didn't move. Whoever ended up in that two just in front of the defenders didn't really break or didn't really move. So yeah.
So what's the benefit of having like the two not moving, for example? You're saying, so the two deepest two midfielders, what's the benefit of them being static and keeping that sort of position?
Well, they couldn't come down the middle of the park. I mean, Maguire and Lindelof, they didn't get a one-on-one at all the whole game. So maybe that was the protection that they had, but it was fluid in regards to once we picked up the ball. I mean, Reece came up with some stats during the game, and the amount of passes that we had going forward already, you know, that's something that Rangnick's come in. I just can't wait to see in 2 weeks or 3 weeks when he sat down there and those players totally understand what's going on, you know? So
amazing.
Yeah.
So going back to that, I think it's really interesting, isn't it? That Ralph's come along. He's given his interview to everybody, the big wide world, and obviously he's gone in training and tried to implement his tactics onto the boys as well. And we've already seen today. So the main three things he said was about controlling the game by keeping the ball as further away from our goalkeeper as possible. So which we did see. I think it was evident today that we had possession in their half, in the opposition half, and we were sort of like camping them back in and almost choking them out where they couldn't get out. And I think TALKMU, you said some really interesting points on your commentary about how they're trying to play out, but they couldn't, and they were having to crash it. Is that right?
Yeah. We would, like you said, what you said was the choking. You know, your hands around your throat. You're like, yeah, we're choking them. So we made them feel uncomfortable. Then we knocked their confidence in their ability to maintain possession in their own half and play it out. So we had them worried and we had them a little bit panicked. So then they reverted to just lofting it over us, which is in one sense you can think, okay, it's a clever thing to do because it does relieve the pressure, you know. But from our point of view as the attacking team, that gives us confidence because you're just like, yeah, look, all right, that's cool, you do that, but we're going to maintain our attacking shape here, and we're going to win the ball back with our two midfielders, you know, or the defenders, and the ball's going to come straight back in, but we are still in a good shape to attack you. And that's the key to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. Well put. I think, Rebel, maybe you can hit us up with some stats to sort of, so people who haven't seen the game will be able to visualize it, because we're trying to explain it as much as we can, but maybe the stats will help. Do you have any sort of key stats there about the game?
Yeah. Just in terms of the overall game, it does break down into first half, second half, but I'm going to go with the full 90 minutes. Ball possession, 61-39. Goal attempts, 16-8. Shots on goal, 3-2. And just to be clear, the first stat is the Manchester United stat, just for anyone that's going to be confused about it. Shots off target, 7-3. Block shot, 6-3. Free kick, 7-19. So we forced a lot of errors from Crystal Palace, given the free kick count that they accumulated. Corner kicks, 9-6. That was something that I think that in the previous games that we had a very low stat of actually was creating opportunities where they had to give up corners against us. So our corner count was up. The throw-ins 30-20, 2 saves apiece, 16 fouls to 9, 2 yellow cards apiece. And now the passing, 527 total passes, 435 executed for United. And then tackles, we had 24. Attacks, we had 142 individual attacks, 77 of which were classed as dangerous.
Wow. So going on to you, Mr. B, I mean, hearing all these stats, and obviously you just coming fresh from the game, smiling and over the moon, you seem. It was a 1-0 result, but were we really that dominant? Were we really that in control?
This was your tip. This is the result, Omondi, that you've been calling out from the day that I met you, bro. 1-0, total control of the game. I did get nervous last 25 minutes. I'll be honest. Because they didn't deserve anything in the game, I didn't want them to get anything in the game, and that was the only part that was getting to me. But we controlled the whole of first half. They had a little flurry in the second half, maybe, but yeah, that was a dominant performance. And on Monday, hands up, man. You've been calling for it. And that. It's a beautiful feeling. One, the shutout, the fact that they didn't really have any clear-cut chances to make us sweat. We just cruised out the game, man. It's a nice feeling. It's been a long time where we can, as Man United fans, can maybe analyze a game tactically, because normally, the last couple of years have been a bit free-spirited and a bit free-willed, but you can see my thing to you, and I said it already, players want to play with instruction. They want to play with instruction, whether it's 1 or 2, and don't give them 7 or 8, because footballers are simple creatures by nature. So they don't want all of that. You give them 2 instructions and maybe give them the ability to add their own twist on certain things. And I think that's what happened today, and that was nice.
Do you know what, Mr. B? Before you go any further, it didn't actually occur to me at the time that we actually had Omondi's dream result, his mecca, his omega, his absolute wet dream of a result. And Ralph has delivered for him.
Thank you. It took someone like Ralph coming in to sort of bring that sort of performance and that sort of result, which I've been begging for you guys know how long, and we weren't able to get that. No heart attacks anymore, just a controlled, easy game. And that's what he said after what he watched Arsenal the other day. He's probably thinking, my gosh, we cannot have this. I'm 63 years old. I don't know if I can handle this, everything. Because he's quite animated. He was actually on the touchline, wasn't he, Rise?
Yeah. And that's another thing, to see him on the touchline, getting involved with the play. All right, yeah, we did see Darren Fletcher at times on the touchline as well, which was questioned. But I mean, look, you know what? At this point, I'm just thinking, you know what? I don't really mind too much about that, because I'm just sort of like, look, it's his first game. He's only had 1 training session and a meet and greet, and I'm just kind of thinking, I'm trying to now in my head think, what is it he said to them? What has he actually said to them in order for them to be such a massive improvement like that straight off the bat with so little time? Has he just gone in there and said, look, trust your instincts, go out and enjoy the game, and blah, blah, play to the best of your ability and cover each other, look out for each other. And I think it could turn out to be a case of that. A simple, like we say, we all work off simple instructions, and a lot of the time that's what you really need is simple instructions. And that, for me, because what else could have really happened and changed? Because I was expecting a total change of formation, which didn't come. I was thinking it was going to be maybe a 4-4-2. But you know what? Yeah, it's brilliant to see. It really is.
So with that, you're saying about 4-4-2. It was clearly like a 4-2-2-2. So I'm asking you, Rebel, when you play that system 4-2-2-2, it's quite narrow in a way, even though players can expand and stretch out thing. Where do you think the width comes from, and why is it so important?
Well, clearly what you're going to be relying on is your fullbacks to be really motoring along the wings. And it's evident from the change in the fullbacks. Obviously, Shaw is enforced due to his concussion, but he has gone with Dalot out of the gate in terms of his right back option, because he feels he's going to offer more in an offensive structure. Now, one other thing to pick up on was Jadon Sancho was a very lively candidate in the first half. But in the 4-2-2-2, you're going to be looking for the movement in between your lines of midfield, and you're going to be looking for your wing backs to do the wide work for you.
Totally. And we witnessed that today, didn't we, Mr. B? I mean, I'm going to go on to the fullbacks later, but obviously on a big pitch like Old Trafford, and compressing the play like that and squeezing them back, we've always got that option now of the fullback who are whipping in crosses. And it'd be interesting to know how many crosses they whipped in or how many times they got the ball. And you know that graph they do where they have the shadow what areas they operated in. Yeah, that's the kind of stats I think would be really highlight how great they were and how important they are in this team. You got anything to add to that about the fullbacks and what they're doing?
The two fullbacks that played, I'm going to be really honest. If that is how Rangnick wants to play, I think Wan-Bissaka is in a whole heap of shit.
Yes.
Sure, to a certain extent, can do the job that Tellez does, because he's done it the whole of last season. He was bang on. The fact that he stayed with those two means now that the first choice now have their work cut out, and that can only be good for competition. Because if you've got, at the end of the day, pride makes you want to play. You were playing you're playing under Ollie and the results weren't great. You're now not playing and the results have picked up. When you come into that team, you have to be 110%. If you're not, guess what? You get dropped again and it's going to be noticed. So the bar now has been risen by Dallo, who you have been championing for at least 6 months. When he came back into the squad, I said, right now, you're sitting here like you're the Buddha, because you did the things. I see you rubbing your big belly there. I see it. You know what I mean? You have
Kamala.
called it. Hey, you called it, man. You called it. I've got nothing. I would have liked a 3-1. I would have liked a 2-0 because that's what I called. But yeah, the fullbacks were mustard today. And the amount of times that they were, it's an instruction. It's an instruction. So the fact that they've listened to the instruction, it's one game. It's 2 days. I want to see, as I said, I say it again, I want to see it in 2 weeks.
I think like when we had the ball in their half, which we did for the majority of the game, I believe, well, just from my observation, I think it got to the point where we suffocated them so much because the fullbacks were in line with the two second midfielders, Bruno and Sancho. So it was like 4 across there and the 2 strikers to deal with as well. And they couldn't get out of that. So their fullback was occupying their fullback, and in their sort of the final third of the field. It's really difficult for them. Do you think that was a major factor about getting out? And also, I just want to ask everyone here now. We're talking about getting exhausted, like suffocating them, which clearly when you're pushing them in the front, you're in the front foot and you've got the ball and you're playing in their half consistently. Who gets more tired? Because I was saying, I came on at halftime, I said about they're going to get exhausted, they're going to tire out because just the mental pressure, wave after wave, and having to orchestrate and shuffle over and deal with everything. But then Crystal Palace, did they come back into the game? And going forward, do you think we can outlast teams? Or do you think teams soaking up the pressure can be able to sort of be less exhausted? What's more exhausting? That's my question. What's more exhausting? Having the ball, pressing them when you're in their half, or being able to defend that?
I think
everybody.
It's not having the ball, because if you've got to be chasing the ball, you're chasing frustrated. You could do the same running. Yeah, you're chasing shadows. All you do is pop it around. That's why people get pissed off playing Man City, because they pop the ball here, and all you do is run. As soon as you get close, you know you're not going to reach them before the ball comes. And if you drop off, you're going to get you. So you have to make the effort. When you've got the ball, you'll run all day. Let's be honest. You've got the ball at the feet, you'll run all day. You know that the person coming here, you're going to put, sometimes you're not even looking and you're going to make the pass. And you see him coming and his tongue hanging out. You've done your job. You've pulled him out of his position.
it's frustration as well when you're in that position as a player and the other team are doing that, and you're the one who's chasing shadows, and got players are ghosting you and just like moving all over the shop, and you can't keep with them. You can't get in a good position to receive a pass, and then when you do, you then straight away like, oh crap, and you don't do anything good with it, positive. It's that that's draining. It's physically, mentally draining, because you want, like we say, for us in a attacking sense, when you're playing a game, it does give you more energy. You're so revved up. You got more enthusiasm. You're more inclined to just want to take one touch and move into space that's there in front of you and attack the space. And the most impressive thing for me was the fact that our shape in and out of possession, it was just great to see, because like I was saying, we weren't being lopsided. Usually we talked about, like, we'll go back to the Villarreal game, the final, for example, Europa League. When we talked before the game, we actually said, look, we know what's going to happen here. We're going to end up lopsided on the left-hand side. We're going to go, try and play it between Bruno, Rashford, and I can't remember who else was playing. But anyway, that's what we were going to try and do, but it didn't work. And we hardly used the right-hand side. But today, now, all of a sudden, whoosh, we're so balanced. It's just, again, like for me, I say, what the instruction that has been given, because if you think about it, like we were talking about the left back with Dello and Tellers, their natural game is to do what they do. So when you say that to players who have got an attack mindset, go out and enjoy your game, support, look out for each other, keep a good shape. That's what we're seeing.
Good shout. Rebel, do you want to add to that about what point we're just going on about who's going to be more exhausted, the team with the ball or the team without the ball, if you're sitting deep?
Well, obviously, if you're outputting a high energy press, you're obviously going to wane as time goes on. That's where the fitness and training sessions that Rangnick will be putting in over the next 2 to 3 weeks is going to come into play. We're obviously going to be a bit more leggy in the early going, because let's be fair about it, he's not even in the door and he hasn't got a chance to sneeze yet, let alone get the fitness up to where he would like it. But eventually, what he'll want to be seeing is the ball doing the work when we do have possession. He'll want that proactive forward passing that he so much exemplified in his initial press conference. So what you're going to see as time goes on is, as our fitness levels come up to meet his standards, you're going to see more work being done by the ball and our energy being utilised in the most effective way possible. I suppose a typical German approach, really, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. What I want to do now is just like talk about. So we've established what the fullbacks are doing in this formation. They're pushing high up. They're actually in line with the second midfielders, like the Bruno, the Sancho. They're in line with like a forcing the team way back. And obviously, it's not an issue about getting countered, because Fred, McTominay, and the two centre backs are watchful and just shuffling over to deal with anything that gets countered, because usually a lazy ball or a lofted ball to get out of their defence. Just want to add here, Reese has made some really good comments. I've noticed. He said, Rangnick, this is what Rangnick said. I had to ask my assistant coach if that was Fred's right foot. I thought he could only shoot with his left. I'm happy for him. So we missed that. That's a post-match interview from Rangnick. Bit of jest in there, because I'm sure he knows he's left-footed. Second one from Akil. He says, Rangnick said, we wanted to play with two strikers, especially in the central position. By the way, Cristiano Ronaldo's work off the ball, chapeau, which means, what's that mean, chapeau?
That must mean something like brilliant or fantastic or I don't know, but I'm going to assume that's what
I like
it was.
the sound of that word. It sounds like hooray and marvelous. So quickly, guys, so we know, we've spoken about the fullbacks, what the fullbacks are doing. They've got license now to push high up the pitch in the final third, and they're very important because they give you width and they can be able to sort of supply wide ball, stretch the pitch and supply balls in. They're delivering balls in to the final third. We've established what the two centre backs do. They play a high line and they're good ball players and they can pop it off and they play direct passes into the midfield. We established what the two defensive midfielders do. Okay, they sit there kind of static and watch out for the counter and don't really get involved in the general attacking play, but they're just there to sort of sit and keep the ball, recycling the ball when the other team get possession. Now I want to talk about Sancho and Bruno, maybe the two kind of number 10s that we're seeing here. Have they got license to go wide? What do you think about their movement? Are they playing in the half spaces? And who else? I want you to name, because I'm going to go through our squad in a minute, and I want you to, with this new system, I want you to name the players that and where they, because some players might not have a spot in this sort of formation. So we consider Jadon Sancho a winger, but he's playing as almost sort of sub number 10 with Bruno. Do you see what I'm saying? But he's got the ability to do that. So what do you think about the 2 10s or whatever, the two guys behind the strikers? What's their role? And what do you see the effectiveness of them playing there is? So I'll start with you, TALKMU.
So, well, they gotta feed the strikers, aren't they? That's the first part of it. So I was muted then, so I didn't catch the end of what you said because I was listening to something else. But just repeat what you said.
So basically, we're talking about all the positions. We're talking about the centre backs, their role.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the fullbacks, their role. Talk about the 2 defensive midfielders being static and really sort of recycling the ball. Now I want to talk about the 2 number 10s or Bruno and Sancho. What do they bring to the game? How effective are they? And what's their role? What do you think their role is?
Well, I could say, yeah. I mean, feeding the forwards and getting into the spaces, causing. If they've got to work the spaces in order to open up the spaces, as well at the same time. So there's no point in them being static and then just getting marked, because then when they get the ball to them, what are they going to do? They've got nowhere to go. And like we see with Crystal Palace, they will close you down. They're not going to sort of let you just take the mickey. So, they're and today I thought they were really effective. I mean, Sancho, I don't know why I took him off, but like we said, maybe to give it a fresh energy in there, with bringing on Greenwood. But going forward, that's going to be key. Because if you've got McTominay and Fred doing their kind of safety roles, so to speak, and then them two doing the right, we're gonna be the ones to open up the spaces for other players to drift into, so we can pop the ball off and then get in behind, etc. Then there has to be discipline in that. So, for me, I think.
So with the personnel that we've got in Sancho and Bruno, do you think they can perform that effectively?
Well, I don't see why not. I mean,
yeah.
We know what Bruno's all about. We know Sancho, is right winger. But again, if you've got if Dalot's playing high up the pitch, occupying players there and giving players something to consider, it's when you don't give players something to consider that makes them comfortable. And they go, well, I don't need to move here because it's fine. I don't have to worry about anything. Once you've got then a player coming up there and you're going, whoa, who's got this guy? What's he doing? Then like you say with Sancho, rather than it doesn't have to be out there if Dalot's going to get higher up the pitch, because he knows that presence is going to cause a problem. So then he can drift.
Okay, going back, sorry, just going to add, because there's some really good comments coming in here about this point. So Akil saying United made 77 passes in the final third against Crystal Palace, the most United have managed in the Premier League game this season. So in that final third, obviously, from what you're saying, TALKMU, they have been really effective because they're making some lots of passes in that area, something we haven't really done before. Rebel, do you want to just add to this about the 2 number 10s, that sort of role that they're playing, and how effective it would be going forward?
Absolutely. I was actually having a quick look at the overall squad, I suppose, and the 4-2-2-2 system. I think we'll see a lot more of Danny van der Beek as training sessions go on. I think Bruno will probably be rotated a bit in order to keep him fresh. We're clearly seeing the best of Sancho now. The last couple of games, he's been immense. He was immense against today. And it looks like he can either play in the front 2 or that middle 2 in the 2-2-2 section of the formation. So it looks like there'll be plenty of opportunity for him. Rashford, I think we really do need trying hard to get his Brazilian. I love it, but I think we need to get Rashford in training and getting his fitness back and his sharpness back. I don't think we're seeing the best of him lately. Absolutely love the guy to bits, but I think for his own protection, his own sake, he might need to come out of starting 11 until he gets that match fitness back to the level that he needs it to be. Fred is obviously clearly developing, and this is one area, though, that I do think that Ralph may look to strengthen in January is the whole McTominay-Fred axis. I think once we go beyond them, we are limited in terms of our pivot roles. Obviously, Pogba's out injured, and we don't know whether or not he's planning to stay with us. So I do expect there might be some support coming in there, but and maybe at right back. They seem to be the two positions that have been name-checked in previous conversations that we've had on Monday on the channel. But there's definitely a great hope in terms of players that he's bringing through from the academy. I mentioned Elanga was immense in a under-19 Champions League game a couple of weeks back. And Ralph has here, a weekend, and Elanga was on the squad. Now, obviously, that was by necessity due to probably players missing. But it is great to see these players getting their opportunity, and let's hope they grasp it with full open arms.
Do you know,
Fantastic.
as well on Monday, I just want to add something to where we talked as well a little while about when I was mentioning about our attacking shape crumbling too easily. So today, what I saw was the total opposite of that. We were maintaining our attacking shape. Even when they were threatening, we're still in a really great shape because, like you say, you got Tellez and Dallo who can squeeze in. They can squeeze in if they need to, if they're going to go try and get in narrow in them gaps, if they're out wide. If they do get in behind, Fred or McTominay, they can squeeze in, which means that we don't have to have everybody just collapsing so that they can then, with McTominay and Fred, we're doing a lot of ball winning, getting back in really early, winning the ball and then pushing it out to a Dallo or a Tellez, who are then feeding it to players who are in a really good attacking position without us having to start all over again, and that is surely that's key to what it is that Rangnick's going to be trying to do going forward in future, because it plays into this Gengen style, doesn't it?
Yeah. Just Mr. B. So we're talking about the two number 10s. Let's focus on the two number 10s. What do you see the effectiveness adding to what the other boys have said and what's coming in the comments as well? What do you think is important about this role? What sort of skills and attributes do you need to have? And what did you see from Bruno and Sancho today? Because I just saw some comments. Sorry, just to add to that, I saw Bath Time and Jackie said something about Jadon Sancho being an intelligent player, wise enough to play this role. So what do you think is required?
It's the brain. It's the intelligence. These are players. Sancho's been doing it for a few years. Bruno's been doing it for a couple of years for us as well. We've now got two players who are allowed to create in our team. They've now got two players ahead of them who they're now going to be feeding. So at the moment, the options they've got are looking good. I mean, if it's all right, say Sancho's on the right hand side, he's got the two players ahead of him to feed, and he's also got Dallo. If it goes to Dallo, they already know. You can see it today. You break your neck to get into the box because you know he's going to deliver the ball. So already there's a system on Monday, a system of play after one game. So
wow,
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
So that's the two number 10s, guys. And now we're going to focus. Please, can we just focus on what we're saying here? That's two number 10s. We've done the fullbacks. We've done the Tommy and Fred. We've done the centre backs. The two strikers now. Now, from my observation, I think they're quite narrow. They play within the 6-yard box, which is where you're supposed to score your goals. Obviously, they come out and rotate from time to time in the build-up. But most of the time, I found that Ronaldo and Rashford quite narrow, 6-yard box. That was the sort of, they wouldn't go beyond as wide as that. Do you understand what I'm saying? I think that offers nightmares to defenders because then they can sort of make runs in between the defender, the centre back, and the fullback. They can sort of move around. They can rotate. It's like doing things in pairs, isn't it? It's like the 2-2-2. They like pairs. They like pairing up, doing their own little thing together, talking together. Yep, bam. You go left, I right, switch it up, and I can see a lot of rotation like that and a lot of communication. So, what is the importance of these two number 9s or two strikers? Because going back to Red Bull, I remember Poulsen, big Denmark striker, mixed race guy, and he played Werner there as well. And they were like a big man who can hold it up, target man, and Werner was busy, could move around a lot, kind of thing. So there was a little combination there that really worked for them. So what do you think, guys, about Ronaldo and what we've seen today, Rashford playing together? And what do you think that they bring to the game with this sort of front two guys we've got up front there?
total pressure on the back on their defence, because like you quite clearly pointed out, when they play narrow like that, then you've got, and when you've got the wing backs doing what they do, the defenders have to make a decision. What do I do here? Do we stay narrow and leave those sides free for them to go in and, you know, put one-on-ones? It's risky. So they've got to decide on what we're going to do. We're going to protect the edges, or we're going to have to concentrate on these two. And like with them two, like you say, floating about, you know, one can drop, one can stay. You know, you can make up the ground that way, but it's not such a risky pass in. If you've got someone to lay it off to, you can lay it off to someone else who can score. You make the pitch smaller, so to speak, when you play like that, because you're not taking such risky passes. Where if you're trying to sort of thread it, you know, if you're trying to thread a ball through, it's much more risky, isn't it? If you haven't got that skill set to be able to do that. Well, then when you've got somebody who's available there to play it into, to lay it off to somebody else, another striker who can put it in the net, it makes things shorter and less risky to do. And plus also the fact that they are in them areas, it scares the life out of defenders, because if you're playing in a defence, you'll know Monday. Last thing you want is two dangerous players in front of you, continually moving around, one going, one staying a little bit. I'm not talking like massive amounts here, just little bits, little movements, because you're frightened to death of going in too close to them. You know, if you touch them, bang, you know, penalties, free kicks galore, or whatever. So it's just an absolute nightmare for defences to deal with. And like I said, for them to keep that kind of position, it's just pure constant danger for the opposition.
Rebel. So there's a new term which is called the pressing forward. They say these guys are pressing forward. So do you think they're the start of the press? Do you think they're vital? And can you add to what they bring to the game? Having these two guys quite narrow, always there and always a threat. And what do you think the attributes of, say, Rashford, for example? What do you think he brings to that sort of position now? Because he's used to play at wide left, didn't he?
Well, he kind of sowed his foundation out on the left, really. That's where he kind of really established himself in the United team. And now he's been asked to perform a different role and a different duty for us. I suppose looking at the Ronaldo side of that front two, one player I would be excited to see when he comes back from his injury and is fully fit is Cavani, because I think he will do absolute bits in this style of play. The man is made for this role. We saw a glimpse of it even when Oli was still manager, when he absolutely heard from the opposite side of the pitch to collect the ball that somebody else had given up on. And I think he will be very exciting in that role. And but I think the front two, the important is contrast. If you're giving a defence multiple types of threat to think of, then regardless of who comes at the top end of the ball, whoever's going to be at the finishing end of a play, they have to think, well, they could hit it in high for Ronaldo to head. They could hit it in low and fast for a speed merchant like Rashford to come onto. It offers many different questions for a defence and an opposition coach to try and have to resolve. So I think it's going to be very important. And I think Greenwood in that role, in the kind of, I suppose, alteration role between what Rashford is going to be in there and Greenwood. Greenwood is going to have to come of age. He's going to have to be very mindful of what's going on in the positions around him, because one thing that Ralph will not excuse is inefficient use of the ball and going needlessly into trouble.
Thank you. Look, what we're going to do now, just going to mention quickly, guys, we are at a milestone soon. It's been a great week, and obviously to top it off like this, we're close to getting 1,000 subscribers. That's a big milestone for podcasting, and we've started from 0 and we're on our way up. So just want to say thank you to everyone who's contributed, everyone who's tuned in and subscribed, commented, liked, whatever you're doing. We're thankful for this, guys. And when we do get to 1,000, we're giving away a Bruno Fernandes signed shirt, and that'll be a live draw, and hopefully Jay Motty's going to come on and make sure everything's done fairly, because last time Solo won it, and that was a bit dodgy, if you ask me. So anyway, Mr. B, quickly, because what I want to do now, just ask you quickly about the front two. Then I'm going to go through our squad, and I want you to tell us, are they in or out, and what position do they play in this new formation? We're going to be very, very quick, in, out, and where they play. So it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6 and 8 are the two, or 6s are the two guys. 8s are the two guys behind the strikers, and 9s are probably the two 9s up front. If that makes sense. Yeah. So we'll just quickly have a quick brief summary on the front two, and then I'll move on to the squad and go through quickly.
The front two, to me, they keep the two centre-backs occupied. Two centre-backs can't go nowhere. The fullbacks don't know whether to mark Jadon Sancho or Dalot one side, or Bruno and whoever the other side. So you've already got an overlap in certain positions. The fact that the two central midfielders stay central means that we're playing like a trade line. So if it doesn't go one side, we can always take it over the other side. The one thing I'm going to be interested to see is if the players will be switching the ball earlier, because teams are going to work out what we're doing. I think the way out of that press that they have is to switch the ball. So maybe we're going to be seeing balls from wide right to the left-hand forward side, a bit like Lindelof plays, but he plays it more central, maybe drifting out to the left or maybe drifting out to the right. I'm done.
Good point. All right, going for the squad now. Remember, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got a centre-back, left full-back. We've got 2 6s. We've got 2 8s or 10s. Say you call them 10s. 2 8s. Sorry, 2 10s and 2 9s up front. Victor Lindelof, in or out?
In,
yeah?
Yeah.
And he plays the centre-back, yeah?
Yeah.
Eric Bailey, in or out?
In.
And he'll be playing as a centre-back for us. Phil Jones?
Yep.
Out.
Luke Shaw?
In.
Bench.
We all confident he can do well, yeah, in that position. The new role.
Rebel saying bench. Rebel saying bench.
Guys, in the comments as well, just add your comments to this. Tellez, he's been playing. In or out?
In.
And
in.
Okay, good. Wan-Bissaka?
Out.
Bench.
Oh, out.
Out.
That's harsh.
Can I just point out one quick thing? Mr. B over here has said he wants Tellez in and Shaw in. I wonder how we're going to play both of them at the same time.
Rotation.
Yeah.
Bit like our show. We rotate on here. Mengi, the youngster. He's a defender.
In.
Where would he play? Centre back?
Cover for centre back. Train him. That's what he's here for.
Oh, I'm not going Raphael for Varane. We know that's the easy one here. Paul Pogba, where's he going to play? The 6 or the 10s?
He's got to play. He's got to play forward. He can't play back.
Yeah, I don't.
Guys, in the comments, where's Paul Pogba? Where's he fitting? Does he fit in with McTominay and Fred, or does he fit in with Bruno and Sancho? Where would you guys play him?
He has to play alongside Sancho. You'd have to drop Bruno for Fred.
As a 10,
Bruno for Pogba. Yeah, he's got to play as a 10 for me. You've got to
not
drop.
As the 2 6s.
If you're going to play, if you're going to rotate Pogba and Bruno, that's what you're going to have to do if Pogba's in the plans.
So Reese is saying Pogba is an 8. So as with the Bruno and Sancho role. Anyone think Pogba can play in the 2 6s? We're saying he's in. Oh, someone's saying Bath time saying Pogba out. This is a good one.
Ooh.
For half time. I hope you got bubbles in that bath, bro.
Pogba will be Paris. So where are we playing Pogba, guys? Can we just have a unanimous decision here?
Right, he's got to rotate with Bruno.
Yeah, he's got to be offensive.
He's number 10 then. A number 8 or 10, yeah?
Yeah.
In the 2 behind the strikers.
Yeah.
We all agree. 2 behind the strikers. That's would be more effective, yeah?
Absolutely. So.
Okay, all right. Fred.
In all day long.
Oh, God. This is amazing. What a difference a couple of weeks can make. Wow. No hesitation. Fred, in. You know, wow. Jesus Christ. All right, Bruno Fernandes.
In, obviously.
In.
Yeah. Matic. Where does Matic play?
He's out.
In.
Matic is out. For me, Matic is out. I'm sorry, Monday. Please don't slap me, but I think Matic is out.
For depth.
I think he's more important on the training pitch at this point than in the starting 11.
And Rise, Matic.
Yeah, I think for rotation purposes, but he has to take a step back in this new setup.
I think he's a 6, and I think he's in. Because you said earlier, I think it was Rebels saying about we don't have enough cover for McTominay or Fred. I think Matic is the perfect guy in there. He can recycle the ball.
What we have to remember here is, though, listen, when we because this is how what we've got here now in Rangnick is a very clever manager who, as we've mentioned as well before, about certain oppositions that we come up against under Ole, that, wait a minute, have they even looked at this team? Do they even know how they're supposed to set up against this team in terms of the personnel? And no, they haven't, because they could get it wrong. So therefore, you know, like players like Matic will get a chance against certain teams that are not going to give us that attacking sort of threat.
But doesn't he give you more quality than Matic? Than McTominay and Fred?
Yeah, he does. But
I've seen Fred giving away trying some crossfield passes today. It's like no, it's not working.
I think this is because it's a collective high energy approach. Once you have somebody in there who's going to be a weight around your ankle as a pairing, you're going to have problems because he's going to slow you down if he's not.
Guys, I think this is one for debate because I think Matic has got a bad rep. Everyone said he's slow, he's he's over the hill, he can't do the work. I mean, these guys were strolling out there. When we got the ball, it's strolling, and he's very intelligent as well. But anyway, we'll move on. We're moving on.
I'm seeing a studs up special coming on Monday.
Yeah. All right. Here's a good one. Here's a very good one. Remember positions. I want to hear 6 or a 10. Donny van der Beek.
10.
Why
not? You know 6? What? Just as I've just shut out my mouth, he would be smooth as a 6. Jesus Christ! Can you imagine what he would be like in that position? Yeah. I would take him as a 6. I'll take him as a 6. I've changed from a 10. I'll take.
Or should we say both 6 and 10? Donny van der Beek, guys.
Utility.
Oh, here we go. Reese is saying 8 and 10. Jackie's saying a 10.
Yeah,
clever player, but not in not in Ralph's vision. Matic, okay, fair enough.
Can't see him in that 6 role.
All right, let's move on. Scott McTominay. Yes or no?
No.
Can I be honest? I would.
Even I'm talking about squad. In the squad.
Yeah. I'll keep him in the squad.
Yeah,
in the squad.
All right. Yeah. And a 6, not an 8.
No, not an 8.
No,
definitely not.
Not an 8. No chance.
Okay. Here's a good one. He's on duty with Tunisia at the moment. Who am I talking about?
Tunisia?
Hannibal. Where does Hannibal play in this system?
I have not seen enough of that kid, to be honest with you. So I don't know.
He's a great talent.
You know what? He does everything, though. You know, he's got the vision as a deep lying player, but he can break. You know, he's an anti-press player. If that makes, I don't know if you don't understand. If a man comes to press him, he goes straight around him. That's why I call him an anti-press player. Yeah. And he would cheese. You know what? Yeah, I would take him. That's a definite in.
Where? 6 or 10? 6 or 10?
I would.
Or both.
No, man, we need to nail down. We can't have these hybrid players. 6.
Where are you going to trade him? Trading him up as a 6.
6. Yeah.
Rebel and talk.
I'll go along with that. 6.
Yeah, I'll agree.
I say 10. He's super talented. Jesse Lingard, guys. In or out?
Out.
6 or 10?
Out.
Why?
Out. You don't put yourself up in a West Ham shirt while you're playing for United.
Thank you. Thank you.
People are saying he might fit into Ralph's system.
No, I don't give a shit. I don't care. Get him out.
Guys in the comments, help us out. There's some balance here. Jesse Lingard, should we sign him up another contract? Could he be a good number 10 for us in that role? Oh, no. It's a no-no.
Yeah, it's a no-no. Get Lingard out. There you go.
Legend. Been at the club for years. Probably longest serving.
He's retiring at the end of the season. Let's face it.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, it's got to go on it.
Here's a difficult one. Now, here's a very difficult one. He's an out-and-out winger, I think. Palestri.
He's on loan.
Yeah. He's Alvarez, isn't he?
Yeah, getting in.
He's a winger. He's mainly played right wing, hasn't he? Guys in the comments, Palestri, where would he fit into the system? What are we thinking here? Because Sancho's a winger, but he can play that 10 quite easily. Has Palestri got the...
Again, have we seen enough of Palestri to give us anything that we can feed off in terms of having trust in him to do a certain...
Well, Reece is saying Palestri's gone. Why is that, Reece? Because he doesn't fit into the system. That's an interesting one. We can come back to one, but Palestri's on loan, so we give him a break for now. Maybe he can change. Ederson Cavani, where's he play?
In.
He's in there. What number?
He's going at number 9. That's straight.
One of the 2 strikers, yeah. All right, here's a good one, guys. Ready for this? Anthony Martial.
Out.
Ciao.
No hesitation there, guys.
No.
Au revoir. Bon voyage.
Bon voyage.
Is that because he doesn't
Bonjour.
fit into the system?
It's because he doesn't
We just
work
don't-
hard enough. He doesn't work hard
Okay.
enough. Get him out.
Guys in the comments, Anthony Martial. I hear Yankees saying out. Yep. Gone, says Jackie. Oh, God, there's no love here. Marcus Rashford. He used to play left wing, as Rebel was saying earlier. Where does he play? What number do you give him on this one now?
Nines.
This system.
One of the
Nines.
nines.
Yeah, it's got to be in a pairing, hasn't it? It's got to be in a pairing.
Let's just bear in mind, though, that this manager is probably going to play 2 different formations where he's going to be asking his players to be able to play in 2 different ulterior roles. So there could be a position or a formation that he puts out that could necessitate wingers.
Okay,
Well,
interesting.
So what's that? This is because listen, look, this system is a like an augmentation of 4-4-2. So you know what, we can easily drop into that once he gets more time with the players. This is why I was expecting that at the start, but it is like an augmentation of a classic 4-4-2, isn't it?
I personally think if it ends up with only 2 or 3 players who don't really fit in, he would stick with this system and buy players for this system, maybe, which is kind of effective because he can change the system within the game. But that's an interesting one. Really good point. Mason Greenwood, guys.
In.
Because he came on as the 8 today. He came on as the 10.
Up top.
But you say he's got to be up top.
Number 9.
You're training up as a number 9.
Yeah.
Rebel and Rice and people in the comments. This is an interesting one. Greenwood, he came on as a 10 today, not as a 9. Where would you trade him up?
Up top. Has to be up top. His
As a 9,
finishing
yeah?
is absolutely quality. It needs to be flourished. It needs to be brought up, and you have to have him up top. Sorry, Tom.
Sorry. Let's not forget what he did there in the build up to that goal. He held up the ball really, really well, and he's seen the pass and he made it. So I think all the experience he's now got under his belt in that role that we was playing him out on that right hand side, I think it's now starting to come to fruition because one thing he's not going to lose is his natural abilities, which are, as we know, as a striker. He's never going to lose that.
Okay, so we're saying Greenwood's going to be trained as a striker, but he could play a 10 in the system, maybe, as he did today, quite possibly. Guys, when I always hear that he's a great finisher, I don't think he's a great finisher. I think he's a good shooter. He can shoot well with either foot. When we see him dink the keeper or take a dribble past the keeper, those sort of goals, I don't know. That's what I mean is a great finisher. But it's interesting. Maybe if he got more opportunity up front, we'd see a bit more from him as a finisher, not necessarily. Great shooter, no doubt in my mind. Left foot, right foot, ping it in the corners. But is he a great finisher? Can he do has he got a variety of scoring, one-on-one with the keeper, that sort of thing? I'm not sure. Can he score with his head? How many headed goals have you guys seen him score? So to call him a great finisher, I'm not. I'm still a question mark about that.
I think it's his shot selection that's going to be the main thing that needs to be improved. It's because he was taking on shots at times when they were not on. We would be seeing a far greater degree of conversion rate if his shot selection and shot awareness was improved.
Okay. Well, that all goes.
4 more players to go in our current squad. Yeah. Right.
I don't know.
Mason is a superstar. So Jackie says Mason is a superstar. He can play. He can build up play. Definitely, yeah. Good shout. Football intelligence, and he sees a goal before others. Great shout there, Jackie. Great shout. I agree with that. I agree. He is a superstar. Is he a finisher, Jackie? Is he a proper finisher? Can he finish with his head as well? That's just my question mark about him. But I love the guy. But I don't think anyone loves him more than our very own Talk MU. Who wants to stop?
Yeah, man, he's an out and out. He's just an out and out goal scorer. And like you say, I know what you're saying on Monday, but I think with him, with that kind of player, his natural instinct is with his eyes is always scanning, and he sees the space and he'll see the opportunity, sniff it out, and he's there, whoosh, right at the right moment, bang. I know what you're saying about Rebel about him taking the wrong shots on, but that was in the old setup, and I think now that things are changing. Because if we're going to play the 2, like we say, to occupy the defense, there's going to be a lot more opportunities for Mason.
Okay, 4 more to go. 4 more to go, guys. Let's put these in. Cristiano Ronaldo.
In obviously.
As what?
9.
Striker.
Could he play as a 10?
No.
No. Okay. No. Good question. Jadon Sancho.
And
where do you play him? As a 10?
10.
Yeah.
One of the two tens.
Yeah.
All right, these two, very interesting. Shola Shawshire. Where would he play?
Shoretira.
Yeah.
I think I don't know.
Is it early?
I think he's
Shawshire, guys.
10.
I think he's a
Shola.
9.
He's been banging up.
No,
I
no.
think he scored the other
You think
day.
he's a 9?
I think he's a 9. I think he's a 9 more than a 10.
Wow.
To be fair.
I think he's a 9. Yeah. No, a 10. No, I see, but I think he's a 10.
Reese is saying a 10, rotated in cup games. Says 10, says Connor. Sancho's a 10, yeah, says Jackie, well done. You haven't said anything, Rebel, for Shawshire. What do you think?
Obviously, he's doing his good work in developing in the youth academy, and he's got a few cameo appearances for us in the senior team. I would agree with Reese. I'd say in the cup games, give him a little taste, but we're probably not going to see the best of him this season. He's probably one for
So where would you train him? What number would you train him for? A 10 or a 9?
10.
10. Okay. And Anthony Elanga, guys, in or out?
9. In,
9.
definitely.
9.
Number 9.
And
yeah.
a 9. He scored a nice header, didn't he? Who was it against? Last season, maybe.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Thing, yeah. Finally, Ahmad. We spent a lot of money on Ahmad.
In.
Where do you play him? Where do you play Ahmad?
Number 10.
Number 10, guys.
In number 10.
It's in his system, isn't it? It's in his system where you're thinking, wait a minute, how do you, you know what I mean?
How do you fit all these people in?
Yeah.
So do you think if you're what position do you think we need to strengthen them? We've gone through the whole squad. We're going to wind up now, guys. What positions? 6s, 10s, 9s, fullbacks. What positions do we need to strengthen based on what we just said?
Right back.
I don't think it changes. Yeah, right back
Yeah.
on the 6. I don't think it's changed. I still don't think it's changed from what we need. Because even if Dalot plays, we already know that Wan-Bissaka can't do that job.
Okay. So right back and a number 6 we need.
Yep.
Easy, simple. And Ralph has come in and made it very simple for us, hasn't he? And look, there's only a couple players that we can see getting worried. I think Anthony Martial, Lingard maybe. These two guys maybe are looking for passes new based on what we're saying here. And I think it's quite clear. You gave great insight into how they would struggle to fit into this system now. And it's interesting now, people will have to train up and find a new position now, which is interesting. What would this be hamper someone like Jadon Sancho who plays in the England system outside? If he starts to play inside a bit more, will it hamper Rashford now? Or will he become a better number 9? Something I've struggled to see him as. You know, there's so many question marks, but it's been a fantastic day. Everyone is tuned in. Everyone who's watched the games, everything else. It's been a great get day today. What have we got in store for the next week? Anyone want to throw it out there?
Well, we have a Studs Up preview show for Champions League.
Studs Up when? So Monday, 8 o'clock, we've got Studs Up. No doubt we'll be talking about this debut from Ralph. And a preview as well. When is just Champions League? Tuesday or Wednesday? That's on Wednesday. So probably do a preview on a Tuesday then. So we've got Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We'll be doing a live watch along for the show. Won't you talk, MU?
Yeah, watch along, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
And
Thursday.
Also, we'll be keeping up with all of any news around the club as well. Also, you know, there's always something to talk about in terms of potential targets. Now we're getting close to, you know, that kind of window opening up. So there'll be all that kind of stuff as well.
Yep. And obviously, what I'm looking forward to most of all this week is Friday. So we can sort of highlight again the big blooper made on Mr. B's takeaway show, because that's when all the bloopers come in. So guys in the comments, if you do see the bloopers, or if it's not even from us, if you see it from any Man United players or anything around Manchester United, then please send them in to us so we can put them up for voting on Friday, next Friday on the takeaway show. But as from today, we're happy with the 1-0 win. I am, certainly. Yeah. Thank you very much. Finally, it's come true. I want to thank all you guys for your contributions. Fantastic contribution today with the review of the game. We're all buzzing. We're all happy. And we're marching on. Who's next? You know, as Christopher King would say in Goldberg voice. He tried to say, who's next? And Man United were next and we beat Arsenal. But we're saying we want young boys. And then we're going on, marching on to the league. I think we're going to do very well this season. And by the time we start improving, everyone's going to be scared to play us. Trust me. So get behind Man United. Be positive, guys, because we've got this. And that's my last word, and I'm out. God bless you, everyone. Have a great, great Sunday evening.